It's a car been out there, and we just went to check, and it's a body laying outside.
That caller was emotional.
Her car is still on, her door is open, and she's laying there.
The lack of quick response to the sound of gunshots is frustrating for the families.
If somebody went on the call 911 and got the police or sheriff or in here, got them back there, they could have saved them. Who knows? It will never be known.
This is where we grew up at. This is where we played ball at. This is where we did everything at. I mean, we hooped together. We played ball all the time. I'm just still not understanding why they found her body so late. I feel like she would have made it.
It's a bad dream we can't wake up from.
He was a great son.
He was a great son. He was a magnificent son.
For two separate families in North Carolina, their worlds collided together after an unforeseen incident that took place just days after Christmas and right before the New Year's. On a dead-end road in Hillsborough, North Carolina, right in between the Holiday Inn Express that was on Cardinal Drive and the Gateway Village apartments, one individual would make a disturbing discovery. Just days before, 911 was called to an area about a lot of gunfire, and those in the area assumed the authorities came to assess the situation. However, that was unfortunately far from the truth, and if the police would have come to the scene the night before, then maybe two young people would still be alive. 20-year-old DeAnthony Morgan was a young man that had dreams and aspirations in life to do great things. His roots came from a very small town of LaGrange, North Carolina, with a population of around 2,800 people. It is also the birthplace and upbringing for the famous New York kingpin Frank Lucas, who started off doing petty crimes in the area before fleeing from there to New York. As for DeAnthony, though, he was one of three of his mother's blessings and was the middle child and second son. He was described as very well-mannered and was smothered with love from not only his mother but his father. His parents would go their separate ways, and his dad got married to his now bonus mom. So he had the luxury of having three parents who made sure he was a great person, and that he was. Just a few years back, he graduated with the class of 2023 from North Lenoir High School, where he excelled on the football field. After school, he continued to do well, working hard while going to college. Because of his father's service to the country and the Army, DeAnthony was able to utilize his DEA Chapter 35 benefits, which gave him money towards his education. He had a plan to be just like his father and join the Army once he completed school, and he had nothing in the way to stop him. Everything was looking up for DeAnthony, work, school, and he had even just purchased a new car, and he was truly excited about it. Now, during the time he graduated in 2023, there was another young girl graduating from A.L. Stanback Middle School in Hillsborough, North Carolina, about 2 hours away. This young girl was Zikera Wardlow, and the two of their paths would connect after she reached high school. And now 16-year-old Zikera was one of three of her mother's children and was described as a bright, kind, and respectful person. After middle school, she went on to attend Cedar Ridge High School, where she dominated on the basketball court. Z, or Zai as many called her, truly loved the game, and even when she was not in school, she was perfecting her skills off the court. After her freshman year at Cedar Ridge, she was recruited to go to Discovery Charter School, where she continued to blossom in all areas of studies. Beyond basketball, she also started playing volleyball in her sophomore year, and it was another sport to add to her athletic achievements. Zikera's life was so full of promise, and her light touched everyone she met, no matter where she was. She and DeAnthony were described as friends that met during a game at school. Though he was leaving out of high school at the time she was starting her high school years, the two came to know each other while he was attending games. Because Zikera was only 16, she did have a curfew and had to be back in the house by 11 p.m. On the night of December 29, 2024, around 9 or 10, she would go out to get food from a restaurant, Bojangles, that was 4 minutes down the road. DeAnthony picked her up and the two went to get food, but strangely, Zikera never made it back home before curfew. Now, also that evening, multiple people heard multiple shots being fired off and called 911 to see if it was a cause for concern. The shots were heard just a block over from where Zikera stayed, right off of Cardinal Drive, not too far from the I-85. One person who lived in the area said because of the make and model of the car, they thought police arrived on the scene. Well, sadly, that was not the case. See, the person confused DeAnthony's charger with a police charger in the night, and because they saw vehicle lights on, assumed the police pulled up. It was not until the next day that the true picture unfolded. It was now Monday around 6:45 a.m. when officers responded to Cardinal Drive in Hillsborough, located off the old North Carolina Highway 86. The same person from the night before who called 911 saw the car still there in the morning running. So they proceeded to walk over to the location and discovered a car door was open and a lifeless female was on the ground. Once authorities got to the scene, they also found a lifeless male in the vehicle. Both victims had been there since the night before, and the car was still running and tragically shot up. Hillsborough police lined the road quickly near the Holiday Inn Express in the nearby neighborhood. News would travel fast, and family members identified the victims as 16-year-old Zikera Wardlow of Hillsborough and 20-year-old DeAnthony Latrell Morgan of LaGrange. Weirdly enough, no one inside the Holiday Inn Express heard gunshots the night before. The investigators were all out there for over 12 hours, and families standing nearby were devastated and heartbroken. Also during this time, when DeAnthony's mother got the news, she was so distraught on her way to the location that she ended up in a tragic accident, flipping her car, rolling over twice, and was thrown through the windshield. Thank God she survived, but the pain she had to endure mentally, then physically after losing her son is beyond heartbreaking to say the least.
This is the car that a tow truck just pulled out nearly seconds before we came on air. This is the Dodge Charger. We understand 2 people were shot here in Hillsborough, and you can clearly see more than one window shot out by obvious gunfire.
Yeah, police found DeAnthony Morgan and 16-year-old Zikera Wardlow yesterday, and tonight they're asking for help in solving the case.
And going back to Zikera, sadly, her body outside the vehicle from Sky 5 earlier this afternoon. She was 16, a sophomore at a nearby high school, a basketball star who had just been recruited to a charter school in the area.
I spoke with DeAnthony Morgan's uncle, his granduncle, and his father earlier today, and they told me that they're heartbroken, they're upset, and they're even mad about what happened. And they're a very tight-knit family. They live about an hour and a half away in LaGrange. And today they visited this crime scene for the first time. This is where Morgan was found shot. One day after his body was discovered, 20-year-old DeAnthony Morgan's family visited the scene where the shooting took place. Morgan's granduncle, 𝐇𝐢𝐥𝐿, says he's trying to cope with the loss.
He was good-hearted. He tried to help you if he could. He didn't pick no fight. He didn't bother nobody. That's why I can't understand why all this shit nonsense went on.
Police found Morgan and 16-year-old Zikera Wardlow inside a vehicle on Cardinal Drive early Monday morning, but they say the shooting happened hours before on Sunday. Over the phone, Morgan's father told me his son would visit Wardlow after work. Family says the two went to Bojangles together before they were...
I couldn't believe it at first. I just really couldn't believe it. It's just a horrible tragedy, and I wish these young people will value life more.
Sophia Hart woke up to the most horrible news about her best friend.
My mama like, Zai gone, Zai gone. I dropped down to the floor, I start crying.
Wardlow's sister is in shock.
It hurts. I think it hurts everybody that, knowing that her body is, still out there.
For hours, police, investigators, and the medical examiner processed the scene on a dead-end road outside of the Holiday Inn Express, while family and friends of Wardlow sat in shock feet away.
I've been trying to, hold it together, but I can't. I can't. It's just so hard.
In the few days that have passed since the tragedy, DeAnthony's father has been expressing his pain daily and saddened that after 4 days he still had not seen his son's body. He also blamed himself for what took place out of guilt that he could have did something different in his son's life. But the truth of the matter is, there are terrible people who have no regards for life, and it is sickening to think about. His father Rico shared a message between the two some months back. The post read, "I told him I knew what I was talking about. I survived many situations. I wish DeAnthony would have listened to me, y'all. Excuse my language, but I was being straight with my son. Now look at what happened. God, I tried. I love my children. God was speaking through me to him. Lord, help me. I can't sleep. I can't rest. I can't do anything. I failed my son. Take my experience as a lesson. I have hope that this never happens to another father again." This conversation had nothing to do with his current situation. We had this conversation months ago. I foresaw a problem for him not knowing what was to come. He was cutting corners in reference to obtaining a firearm. I wanted him to utilize the proper channels to do so. I was simply being a father to my son. This horrible incident does not appear to be DeAnthony's fault, and it looks to me that there may have been people jealous of him and his accomplishments. Instead of getting inspired by his hard work, someone was envious of what he was doing, and tragically, because he was not a bad young man, he was not prepared for the level of hate coming his way. Rico also expressed that his son had such a bright future and was just like him at his age. I'm sure he would have gone on to finish school and serve his country, but sadly, this was all stolen from him. As for Zikera, she was truly loved by all who knew her and was just a kid. She did not even get a chance to even start life, and I'm sure she would have been the star her best friend said she would have become in the future. Her school released a statement saying, "It is with heavy hearts and tremendous sadness that we share the tragic news about our trailblazer student. Sadly, high school student Zikera Wardlow's life was taken suddenly by a gun crime. Though Z, as she was often called, had only this year joined our trailblazer family, she was already known as a bright, kind, and respectful and valued member of our school community. She was a member of our high school girls basketball team and had made many friends and integrated well into our trailblazer community in the short time she was a Discovery student. Zikera's presence brought joy to classmates and teachers alike, and she will be deeply missed. During this heartbreaking time, our thoughts and deepest condolences are with Zikera's family and friends, all those who knew and loved her. The Hillsborough Police Department is asking anyone with information to please contact investigator Andrew Jones at 919-296-9562. Anonymous tips can be reported at 919-296-9555. Please, if you know something, say something. Their lives matter and they should still be here. My thoughts and prayers are with both families and all that love DeAnthony and Zikera. So please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for these families in their difficult time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And always remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.